What is going on, guys? This is Versatile Gaming with my review of Noragami episode 2, and this episode, it was definitely pretty good. I really love the ending. That ending right there was just pretty freaking epic. But the episode starts off with Hiyori. She's taking a bath, but the thing is, her soul is actually outside of her body. But she seems that she can actually interact with things in the real world, even though, she's in her soul form. So that right there is definitely pretty cool. And it's something important to note as well. But the next day at school, she has fallen asleep, and we aren't sure if it's because she definitely been on her own, or maybe her soul was out her body. But I think that she like dozed off in class. I don't think her soul actually came out, but her teacher had to wake her up. But we see when they're in the girls' locker room, I'm guessing they're like changing for gym. There's like this phantom that is hiding underneath the stool, and Hiyori is the only one that can see it. Nobody else can. And we see, while she was changing, because these girls were actually, rushing her, once again her soul fell out of her body, and we see her body now sleeping on the floor. But she has her friends, luckily, that were carrying her to the nurse office. But she took the chance, to go out and have some fun, because we see that she left school and was like walking on these wires as she was like going into the city. So right away we actually learn, a few important terms here, where we see that there's actually a storm happening, where it's unhappiness and negative emotion gather. And then we also learn that only a few certain people can actually see phantoms, such as hybrids like Hiyori, and like animals and babies as well, because we see at one point a phantom crosses a baby path, which causes it to cry. But Hiyori actually does this pretty cute thing where she like shakes its tail in front of the baby, like to calm it down. But then we see like this speck of light, just moving around like rather slowly, and it hides it hides by this mailbox. Now I had no idea that this little speck of light was going to be so freaking important, but you know what? I'm glad it was, because that right there definitely surprised me. But while she's walking around, and she's thinking to herself, she's actually wondering why Yato had to contact her, because it's been 2 weeks already since they made that little deal. We were gonna fix her up so that way her soul will actually stop falling on her body. But when she contacts Yato, he's busy on this train writing down his number so that people can call him for her business. But when she questioned if he's like really a god or not, he actually teleports to her. And that right there was awesome. I love seeing his powers, because as a god, he actually should have powers that make him seem like an overpowered being. But while they were talking about about him fixing her, he was saying that he's not at 100% because he doesn't have a regalia, which we all know would be his divine weapon. He doesn't have that, so he can't use his power. So I'm pretty sure that right there was like kind of a cop out, because I'm not sure how exactly he would fix her in the first place, because that right now I'm like very skeptical on. But according to him, he cannot fix her or complete her request without that. But while they were talking, he actually gets another call, and he actually goes to do that job. So now Hiyori actually had just like this little quick flashback about when she was a baby. Her mother showed her this program about these youth that were refusing to work, and she was thinking that like Yato was one of them. And that part right there definitely made me laugh a little bit. I definitely got some comedy out of this episode. But while she was like thinking to herself about what she can do, she actually decided that she would actually find him a regalia. So she goes around asking these phantoms if they would like want to be want to work with Yato. But most of the time they were just like running away. But then we go to Yato's job, where he was like working in this guy's bathroom, cleaning it up and getting this mold out. I mean, this request right here is not something you ask a god to do. But Yato actually did a pretty good job. Like it's obvious that he takes the request very seriously, because he actually made that bathroom be flawless. He definitely did work in that bathroom. And like even the guy that called him, he even felt bad for only paying him 5 yen, because he felt like he deserved a lot more. So he gave Yato a beer, but we don't know if he took that or not. But once he's done with that, Hiyori actually does call him and saying that she actually found a regalia for him, but when he goes there, we actually learn that it's just a regular phantom, and this phantom starts attacking them, so they have to run away. Now the thing is, while they were running, once again Hiyori's soul came out and she left her body behind, and that right there, was another good comedy moment, because I definitely laughed at that. Because that right there, it was just so priceless. How one moment she was like running her body, and the next thing it just collapsed on her, and now her soul is out. But she was saying that in this form she can fight more. She can actually fight. So she was actually going to take on this phantom. But Yato stopped her, and we actually learned that if that tail ever gets cut, then that right there is basically gonna kill her, because that right there is kind of like her connection between her body and her soul. So if she ever loses that tail, or whatever you want to call it, then that basically means that her life is all over. But while they were like running, when they actually stopped her from attacking the phantom, his arm actually got bitten, and that kind of infected him with what he called the blight. And he was saying the only way that you can get rid of it is to have an exorcism, or you could clean him with like holy water, which he did later on. But the way it looked, it actually looked like he got like a pretty bad burn. And he was saying that if Hiyori would have touched it, then it could possibly spread to her. And he was saying that since Hiyori couldn't fight it, he actually needed a regalia. But just when things looked bad for him, he spotted the spirit, and when he went to, he actually used this like spell, I guess you can say. It was pretty freaking epic though. Like, it was definitely epic. It was cool the way that he like made the symbol or kanji, whatever you want to say it. Like the way that the animation was when he was like making that spirit into his weapon, it was just so freaking cool. And then once he had the sword in his hand, he just looked like a pretty freaking badass. And even though the phantom had bit him and Hiyori was worried, like Yato had this under control, because we see at one point he unleashed the sword and he just cut the phantom into pieces, and that right there was just so freaking badass. I definitely love that part. Like I said, the ending for me, like this whole scene, like once he had the weapon and he just did work, that right there was definitely my favorite part of the episode. But afterwards, after they were done with that and the phantom was defeated, he actually went to go clean that blight so that way it would leave him. And we actually see that he changed the weapon, who he calls Yuki, into his human form. Oh, but I forgot to mention, after he defeated the phantom, or once he had the sword, we get like these little, we get this very quick flashback of like the weapon past, and we see that after he defeated the phantom, he was kind of crying. So I would imagine that they are going to go into detail about his past, but you could just see that it's very tragic and sad if it made Yato cry, because I definitely think that it would be because of that. But after we see that the spirit is now in a human form, and Yato actually hands him a jacket to put on because he was so cold, Yuki actually rejects it because he said that it smelled like sweat, and Yato was just so like crushed by that. It was hilarious. It was priceless. But luckily, Hiyori had her body, and she offered the spirit, or Yuki, her scarf, and he took that. And now that Yato has a weapon, which is pretty freaking cool, I'm guessing now he'll start to I guess try to figure out how to help Hiyori in the next episode. But this episode right here was definitely good. Like I said, this anime overall, I am definitely liking it a lot. I'm glad to be reviewing this for you all. But as always, guys, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out and I really appreciate that. But as always, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you all next time.